Here we go. I want to thank you all for joining today to learn how you can save money on an EV with the Clean Vehicle Credit. My name is Amnika Osborne, and I'm with Cool the Earth. We are a nonprofit organization with a mission to reduce carbon emissions and air pollution. While we are big fans of walking, biking, public transit, and carpooling, preferably in an electric car, with our Ride and Drive Clean collaboration, we work to advance the adoption of EVs and e-bikes in a fair and just marketplace. I'd like to thank City of Palo Alto Utilities for sponsoring this very timely webinar and our upcoming discount campaign that will be taking place for the month of August. I'll talk a little bit more about that later. So today we'll focus a bit on the federal tax credit for EVs, the Clean Vehicle Credit, which is now available as an upfront rebate for many new and used EVs for both leases and purchases. Unfortunately, the federal tax credit will be ending soon on September 30th. So now is a great time to get an EV for maximum savings. Here is our agenda for the day. We'll touch on the benefits of driving electric, which kind of include all the incentives that are available. We will do a deep dive on the Clean Vehicle Tax Credit. We'll do an EV showcase, talk a little bit about next steps with Ride and Drive Clean, and at the end, we'll have a Q&A. So we'll be going over a lot of information today, but not to worry. I'll be sending a PDF of the presentation in our follow-up email later today. If any questions come up, feel free to raise your hand or ask them in the chat, and I'll answer them throughout the presentation as best as I can, and during the Q&A at the end of this webinar. All right, let's dive in. So there are many benefits to driving electric. In California, our passenger vehicles are the single largest source of GHG emissions, often representing about 50% of our individual carbon footprint. So when we switch from a gas car to an EV and plug into clean energy like we can do here in the Bay Area, we are taking impactful climate action by reducing carbon emissions and air pollution, both which disproportionately impact our priority communities. And while driving is better for the planet, there's no sacrifice when we drive electric. EV drivers save time, money, and enjoy an improved driving experience. I saw this chart earlier today, and I just thought it was interesting to show like where we stand with EVs, in this country compared to the rest of the world. I know many people have heard that Norway is leading the way. So 92% of new car purchases in Norway are electric. So that's pretty amazing. In the US, we're still in the early adopter stage. 10% of new cars purchased are electric. But in California, we are leading the way with 26% of cars being electric. And I believe Santa Clara and Marin counties are really leading the way with more like 40% of EVs, of cars being purchased being, EVs. So it's nice to kind of see what's going on in the rest of the world. Even China, 48% of new purchases are electric. I spoke with somebody recently who lives in Beijing, and he said that he uses like Ubers and Lyft kinds of services. And he said for the last 3 months, he's only been in electric ones. Like you can barely find gas cars on the street. So it's kind of great to see that. Okay, so many people save time with an EV when they can charge at home and at work. They can skip the gas station. And EVs are a little more fun to drive. What I really like is the extra torque or power that you get when you're driving an EV. I can quickly accelerate when I'm getting on the freeway and easily maneuver between lanes. It feels very safe. The quiet, smooth drive makes for great conversations when you're on a road trip. And with additional safety features and sensors in these very high-tech cars, EVs are some of the safest cars available, fast and safe. I'm just going to address this question because it's relevant. Save time. So I'll take these two questions. The deadline is September 30th. So you have to have signed a contract and gotten your seller's report which you need to have in hand by September 30th. So it's not moving. It's definitely that date. That's the deadline. So that's why it's great that you're here today, so you can start figuring out which EV is right for you. So saving time, yeah, if you can charge at home or at work, it saves you time. You don't have to go to the gas station. And oftentimes, charging when you're on a road trip or using public chargers is between 20 and 40 minutes. So not so bad. The deadline for both EVs and plug-in hybrids. Yeah, so there is no tax credit for regular hybrids, but there's a deadline for EVs, fully electric EVs, and plug-in hybrid electric EVs. And that's for new and used, like definite deadline, September 30th. Yes, the seller's report is issued at the time of sale. And I'll get into all that later in my presentation. So thanks for the questions. I'm going to keep moving along just so we can get through the slides. Okay, so yes, so before I talk about the total cost of ownership, I'd like to just address the current lay of the land in terms of EVs right now. As I'm sure many of you have heard, the implementation of tariffs on autos is causing a lot of uncertainty for auto manufacturers, which is already impacting future pricing and inventory of new EVs. And we're already seeing pricing go up a little bit on used cars as a result. The federal clean vehicle tax credit for new and pre-owned EVs is still available, as I mentioned, but it's going to be gone September 30th. So, we believe now is a great time to get an EV. And coming to this webinar is a good first stop. So back to my slide, early EV drivers paid a high premium for electric cars. Today's EV drivers often save money, and here are some reasons why. It costs much less to fuel an electric car. Fueling a gas car can be 2 to 5 times more expensive than fueling an EV, depending on where and when you charge it. And electricity prices tend to be more stable than gas prices, as we've seen over the past few years. But I do want to say that electricity prices, especially if you get your bill from PG&E, we can see electricity prices have been going up significantly in the last year and a half or so. So we're definitely aware of that, but it's still cheaper to charge an EV than to fuel up a gas car. Maintenance costs are 40% lower for EVs. It's basically adding windshield wiper fluid and rotating your tires. And then there are these incentives available, which can bring down the cost of purchasing or leasing an EV. We've been seeing, great lease deals in the last few years. So that's something that some people might consider. Even if you've never leased a car before, it might be a great time to lease an EV right now, just because we're seeing some amazing, deals. Okay, so let's dive into these incentives. Just looking at the chat real quickly. So there are currently 4 different types of incentives that can help you save money when you buy or lease certain EVs. The federal tax credit, or the clean vehicle credit, is available as a rebate at point of sale, and there is no tax liability needed. If you purchase a new EV, all of the EVs that are available right now, there are some restrictions on EVs for purchasing, and I'll get into that on a different slide, but it's available for $7,500. There is a vehicle and income cap for that, which I'll also go over on the next slide. If you purchase a pre-owned EV, you can get 30% of the cost of the EV up to $4,000. There are vehicle and income caps, and I have another slide to go into detail on those. So a lot of people are leasing EVs because there are no restrictions. There are no income caps. There are no vehicle limits. There are really great deals. Yeah, no restrictions. And this will also end leasing a new EV. That opportunity is also going to end on September 30th. There are state grants available. These are low-income grants. There's the Drive Clean Assistance Program for $7,500. And then there's Clean Cars for All. We had it for a few months. They used up all the funds in the Bay Area. It is coming back in the fall. It is a retire and replace program available for up to $12,000 for low income folks. And I think you have to retire a 2009 or older EV. Now, in order to qualify for these grants, you have to apply for them in advance. So don't buy an EV and then say, oh, I'm going to go and apply for this grant. You need to apply for these grants, have your grant in hand when you go to the dealership. There are also local incentives available for low to moderate income. So PG&E has a pre-owned EV rebate. So anybody who gets a bill from PG&E and buys a used car can get $1,000. You have to apply for this after you get your EV. There's also a rebate plus, which is a lower income, kind of moderate income, I would say, rebate as well. So you may be able to get the full $4,000. Also, some CCAs, which are our alternative clean energy providers, and municipal utilities are offering rebates as well. So some of them have new rebates for new EVs. Some of them have rebates for pre-owned EVs. Some of them have both. And the nice thing about this is that you can stack many of these rebates. The grants are not stackable. So if you can either get the Drive Clean Assistance Program or Clean Cars for All, but they stack with all of the other rebates, which is really nice. The fourth incentive opportunity is through our organization. Ride and Drive Clean offers EV discount campaigns. We will be offering discount campaigns on a few EVs in August and September. So we will be arranging with a car concierge service, Cartelligent, to have exclusive discounts on 3 or 4 EVs in August and the same in September. So if you signed up for this webinar, you are signed up for our newsletter, and we will announce this when it is available. We'll probably know around the 5th or 6th of August which EVs will be included and the pricing. So as I mentioned, many of these incentives are stackable. So I would suggest that everybody use this savings calculator. It's from the state of California. You can put in your zip code, your household income, how many people that are in your household. There's a filter on the left when you go to this. Use that filter and you can find out exactly which incentives you qualify for. So here are some details on the federal tax credit for purchase. It's available now for $7,500 for about 20 different EVs. I have a list, my next slide will have a list of all the EVs that qualify. It's a point of sale rebate at the dealership. You can also collect this if, when you file your taxes, but the way the government is right now, we've been advised to tell people, take it at the point of sale. Take that credit as soon as you can, or when you can. You may not want to wait. No tax liability is required. Here are the income caps. And because these income caps are a little more challenging for people who live in California, that's why many people lease, because there are no income caps. So you can pretty much lease most EVs and still get that $7,500. But you do have to check with the dealership to make sure they're going to pass that along to you. So yeah, only certain EVs qualify. There is a link at the bottom of this slide that tells you exactly which ones qualify. Final assembly has to be in the US. There are battery requirements. The dealer has to be registered with the IRS. That's really important. Otherwise, they cannot pass along this credit. And the owner cannot be claimed as a dependent. Again, the last day, September 30th, 2025. For purchasing a new EV, these are the EVs that qualify. I'm just going to leave this on here for a moment. As you can see, there are many very popular EVs that qualify. And, the Cadillacs, the Chevys, the only plug-in hybrid that qualifies for the tax credit is the Chrysler Pacifica, which is a minivan. The Honda Prologue, very popular. The Hyundais, the Kias, the Teslas, all very popular EVs. So this is for purchasing or financing a new EV. All right, so this is for used EVs, for pre-owned EVs. The credit amount is 30% of the sale price, up to $4,000. Also, point of sale rebate at the dealership, which is really nice. They take that $4,000 or whatever the amount is right off the price. No tax liability is required. As you'll see, the income caps are a little more severe. They're half the amount as for buying a new EV. There's also a vehicle price cap of $25,000. But rest assured, there are many used EVs available for under $25,000. So it has to be a 2023 or older year model. And you do need to make sure that that vehicle has not used this credit before. So if you're the second owner, then this should work out just fine. Yeah, the dealer has to be registered with the IRS. Make sure you check on that. And the owner, can't be claimed as a dependent. The last day to take advantage of this is September 30th, 2025. I will just say, I have bought a couple of used EVs at dealerships through our partner, Emotion Autos. And I've also bought some new EVs, and it takes a little longer to get a used EV. So keep in mind, there's a lot more variability with the used EV. You want to make sure that you're getting, a car that's going to last, that's going to meet your needs for driving, that's going to last a long time, that's going to be reliable. You may have certain requirements of you want the body to be in certain shape. You don't want a certain amount of miles, or, you want to make sure that, so there's a little bit more to consider. It takes a little longer to get a pre-owned EV typically. Although I did go into a dealership once and I, test drove a used EV and purchased it on the spot. But I had done my homework in advance. Okay, so with so many different EVs available and all of the benefits out there for driving electric, the question is, which EV is the right one for you? I've listed the starting prices here, and the used EV number, it's around 18,000. That's for a reliable, decent range, like 200 miles or more range used EV. You can get some used EVs for cheaper, but they may not, if you're just using it for a short commute or just an around the town car, that could be fine. But, this is like a car that you would take, on a road trip kind of thing. Around $18,000 starting point. So there is truly an EV for every lifestyle and budget. And when I started doing this work 7 years ago, there were 10 EV models available and not many affordable ones. So things have really, really changed, and this is great news. Most fully electric EVs offer 250 to 320 miles of range. Some go even farther. On one charge, like the Lucid. That means you can go from San Francisco to Tahoe with maybe just a 15-minute charging break. With some EVs, you don't even have to stop. But you are accelerating, so you're using a little more, energy. On your way home from Tahoe, you may not have to stop at all because EVs have something called regenerative braking. So when you are not accelerating, your battery is actually charging. So that's pretty exciting. All right, so we're going to kick off this EV showcase with some popular EVs that have been around for a while, some that, are a little bit newer models. The prices listed here are the base MSRP, and I've starred the ones that currently qualify for the federal tax credit if you purchase. Keep in mind, a lot of these, if you lease them new, will qualify for $7,500 off, but you do need to check with the dealership. Let's see. Oh yeah, before I get started, I'd like to note that the average price of a new car, any new car in the United States this year is $48,000. So you'll see many EVs coming in lower than that. And in addition, they qualify for the federal tax credit currently, but not for long. The Nissan Leaf has been around since 2011, and many people are still driving their early model Leafs. Now, with limited range, but enough for running errands around town. I have friends who have them with like a 40-mile range left, but they don't want to get rid of it because it's basically a free car, and they can run errands, go grocery shopping, have a short commute. So really great from that perspective. The 2026 Nissan Leaf is coming out revamped with over 300 miles of range. This is good news because a lot of people are looking for smaller cars. Even though the market in the United States is more like trucks and SUVs, a lot of people always ask me anyway at these webinars, I just want a small car that I can easily park. So this is really good news with the Nissan Leaf. The Kona and the Hyundai Kona and the Kia Niro are small crossover EVs built on the same platform. They've been popular since they came out in 2019. They've both been updated in the last model year or two. So that's really good to know with better features. There are many available at reasonable prices, definitely under $25,000 on the used market as well. So here are some kind of medium-size EVs, a little bit bigger than the ones on the prior slide. The Chevy has been mixing it up with some new models, including the Chevy Equinox, which has a very reasonable MSRP and in addition qualifies for the federal tax credit. I know you're not seeing the Chevy Bolt on these slides because the Chevy Bolt was not manufactured in 2024 or 2025. They took a break. There are many, many available on the used car market at good prices, many under $25,000 with a good amount of range also. Chevy Bolts will be coming out with the 2026 model as well. And that will be updated with faster charging and all sorts of good stuff. Anyway, for now, we have the Chevy Equinox, and later you'll see the Chevy Blazer. The Volkswagen ID4 is the first from Volkswagen brand. It has also been recently updated. Very comfortable car. Yeah, the Volkswagen ID4 does not qualify for the federal tax credit. Maybe if you lease it, you can they'll pass it along. I know there are good lease deals on the Volkswagen ID4 right now. The Ford Mustang, people love the Ford Mustang Mach-E. Okay, moving along. Yeah, the ones that are starred qualify for the federal tax credit. So the Kias and the Hyundais on this slide, and a few other of their models, have something called vehicle-to-load capabilities. So this means it's kind of a bidirectional feature. This means that energy can go both ways. You can charge the EV, and you can also send energy to large appliances, which can be very handy if there's a power shut off. We call this vehicle-to-load capability. So you can power a refrigerator or other large appliances with the energy in the car battery for a week or so if there's a power outage. If you have one of these EVs, there's no need for a gas generator at home, and they are really great also for zero emissions camping. I always think, it's so nice when you drive into the redwoods to go camping, and then you smell all the fumes from cars coming in. It's really nice to have an EV when you're camping. Very quiet experience. Doesn't smell bad, all that good stuff. So in addition to bidirectional charging, these Hyundais and Kias offer very fast charging. So on a road trip, they can charge from 20 to 80% in just 18 minutes, just enough time to stretch your legs and get something to drink. With Tesla, we like to focus on the technology and their public charging network. People love Tesla for their fast, easy, and reliable charging and for their superior technology. The app on the phone makes it very, very easy to manage and drive a Tesla. The Model 3 and Y are more affordable models, and several trims qualify for the federal tax credit. These are efficient, safe cars. The Model Y has an optional third row and seats 7 passengers. These models have both been recently updated in the past 2 years or so. So they look a little different, nice, good looks. So the other thing that's really great about Tesla, the Tesla port is now known as the North American Charging Standard, or NACS. So Tesla is opening their fast charging networks to allow more EV drivers to charge, currently at over 15,000 supercharging stalls across North America. This is game changing. I don't know if any of you have seen studies, but with some of the other charging, fast charging operators, we've seen issues with reliability. And sometimes you arrive and there are only 2 or 3, and there's a long line, and then you might see that they're broken. So there have been issues. We've done some studies ourselves. We've read other studies that show that they're like 75 to 80% reliable. Versus, while the Tesla supercharging network is like 98, 99% reliable. Oftentimes you'll see like at a minimum, like 10 or 12 charging ports. In some places, I do the drive from San Francisco to LA. Many times I've done that. There are some charging stations with 100 ports. So you don't have to wait in line, which is really nice. Really fast charging available as well. So currently the cars, like every car manufacturer has signed up to offer an adapter as we transition to this NACS, North American Charging Standard, standard. And each one has also committed to putting in the NACS port in the car. So some have already started doing this, so we can see some other non-Teslas charging at Tesla supercharging stations, which is refreshing. The ones that are currently supported are Ford, Rivian, GM cars, Volvo, Polestar, Nissan, Lucid, Mercedes-Benz, Hyundai, Genesis, and Kia. Okay, moving on. So these models are also very popular, a little newer model. So the Honda Prologue came out last year. It's been real popular. The Polestar 2 has been around for a couple of years. The Audi has been around. The Chevy Blazer came out last year. It's interesting because while the starting price of the Chevy Blazer is higher than the starting price of the Chevy Equinox, and the Chevy Blazer is a higher end car in terms of, the interior, and it's just like a higher end car. I'm hearing that there are better lease deals on the Chevy Blazer than on the Chevy Equinox at times. So that's something to consider. Like, just because it has a higher price point, you may want to explore what the lease prices are like. Here are some higher end EVs. Oh yeah, okay, let's see. The Lucid and the Lucid Air. Lucid is coming out with, they just came out with an SUV model as well. And they will be coming out with like their second, I guess their 2.0 models, I should say, next year, which will have lower price points. The Polestar 3 just came out last year. So these are, the Jeep and the Acura qualify for the federal tax credit. Don't let these prices scare you away, because there are some great lease deals. I mean, I was in Lucid the other day, and I think like you can lease a Lucid for $599 a month or so, which is quite good considering the starting MSRP price. So if finding a parking spot is often on your mind, one of these smaller EVs should be on your radar, as well as the 2026 Nissan Leaf and Chevy Bolt, both coming out. Not exactly sure when, but I will update everyone on that. So the Volvo EX30 came out last year. As Volvo says, it is small in size and big on safety. The Fiat was available for several years, and then they took a break for a couple years. They came back with, just this year, they added a bit of range, 149, not Not great for a road trip for sure, but definitely okay as a commuter car or around the town car. But I just heard that they're not making them anymore. So they came out for just a limited time. If you're interested in this very cute car, then, go try to find one sooner than later. There's a Mini Cooper EV that will should have come out this year, but it looks like it's been delayed a bit as well. On the other side of the spectrum, if you're looking for an EV with 3 rows of seats, here are some great examples. I believe the Kia EV9 was the car of the year in 2024. It also has a very interesting partnership with, it has some, in addition to having, bidirectional charging, you can actually there's a pilot going on where you can power up your whole house with the electricity that's in this EV with an inverter. So that's really interesting. I mean, if you think about it, just this concept is this is not during a power outage. This is like day to day. So if you think about it, you come home at the end of the day, you still have some battery, range in your battery. You can power up your appliances in your house while you're cooking dinner and from 4 to 9 when we know electricity rates are high. And then when we know electricity rates are low after midnight and when the sun is shining, then we plug it in to charge it. So interesting concept, I think. The Volkswagen ID Buzz. I love this bus. This is the first model year. I'm looking forward to it coming out, with the next model year. Very exciting, nostalgic car. Again, there are some amazing features and functionalities that can really increase the value if you're interested in camping, road trips, and outdoor activities. They even have a setup where you can sleep in the back, which is really cool. The Rivian R1S, it's a large SUV built for adventures. Rivian is also installing fast charging chargers at far-reaching places like national parks because they want people who are into adventures to be able to charge up wherever they go. Yes, there are some electric trucks as well. These trucks are basically generators at home and batteries on wheels on the road. The regular F-150 Lightning is the most popular car in the United States, and the Lightning has become very popular as well. It's quite a large truck, as is the Chevy Silverado. The Chevy pickup truck has a foldable rear bulkhead, which can extend the bed length to over 9 feet. It also has advanced towing technology and up to 11 outlets. In 2026, here's the Rivian truck. It's a little bit smaller than some of the other trucks. They are due to release their R2T and R2S, both of their models, to be smaller and more affordable in 2026. Over 2 million people have ordered the Tesla Cybertruck. I know we've all seen them around. I will say, while they can appear a little daunting when you see them next to you on the freeway, I did test drive one at an EV show, and it felt just like driving a regular Tesla. But there's something really cool with the wheels where they all turn at the same time. So the turning radius is really great in this car. Okay, so I have only one slide for plug-in hybrids because, plug-in hybrids were known to be sort of like the gateway car for, before EVs had a longer range. But now, since there are so many EVs out there with a long range, people are less worried. People don't have range anxiety so much. So we're not as focused on plug-in hybrids, but really anything you can plug in and charge with electricity is great, really whatever works for your lifestyle. So Toyota makes 2 very popular models. What's really nice is they've upped the electric range in the Prius PHEV. It used to be called the Prius Prime, but it's no longer. It's the Prius PHEV. I just learned. It's pretty cool looking too. They've updated their model. It's not your traditional Prius look. So yeah, that Prius RAV4 Prime has been very popular as well. It was hard to get a hold of when it first came out, but now it's a little more available. You can find these cars on the used market as well. So I did want to give you guys an idea about, what prices look like on the used market. So I have like maybe 3 or 4 slides with just some sample pricing. And I do want you to know that this can range vary quite a bit depending upon like the body of the car, how old the car is, the model year. There are so many things, that can impact the price. So yeah, this is some pricing. I also have on here listed our partner, Emotion Autos, who we work very closely with. We highly recommend you working with Emotion Autos if you plan to get a used EV. They can help you figure out the right EV for your lifestyle and budget. They also are able to process all of the different incentives, the grants, and all of the incentives upfront. So that's really handy. They're really good guys and great to work with. These are some higher end cars. And, we start at this 25,000 price just because that's the cutoff price, the income cap, if you qualify for the federal tax credit for a used EV. So there are some available. They might be a little harder to find. Here are some plug-in hybrids available on the used market as well. A couple more, just to give you an idea. Yeah, the range is really quite broad, I have to say. I will say I recently got a used Polestar for $25,000. Polestar, it's a smaller brand. It's a sister company to Volvo. So it's designed in Sweden and manufactured in China. So just to give you that idea. If anybody has questions about that car, I also had an e-Golf, a Volkswagen e-Golf used as well. Okay. So I'm going to just check the Q&A here to see what we're looking at. So now we've come to the how to EV portion of this webinar, which is mostly about charging at home and on the road. So we're going to do a little charging overview. People do get worried about charging, but for most people, 80 to 90% of charging is done at home or at work, and charging at home or at work is easy. At home, you just plug in the charger that comes with your vehicle into a standard 120 volt outlet, just a regular outlet. There are no install costs besides perhaps an extension cord. You'd want to get a heavy duty grounded extension cord for sure, and it will give you about 30 to 40 miles of charge in 8 hours. In the Bay Area, on average, people drive 25 miles a day or less. So on average, 25 miles a day. So this simple solution called Level 1 works out great for most people. If you drive more than 40 miles a day, a good option is to see if you can charge at work. And if not, you may want to purchase a home charging station for Level 2 charging. You'll get about 25 miles in an hour, so you can easily get a full charge overnight. But I want to say that most people with Level 2, unless they drive a lot every day, are really only charging for about an hour because they're just replenishing what they used that day. So I noticed that myself. I have access to Level 1 charger or Level 2 charger. I have both set up. So I kind of switch the cars up, depending upon what I need. But honestly, with the Level 2 charging, my car is only charging for an hour, which is super handy sometimes. Like if I just came back from driving somewhere and I need to go somewhere else far away, I can, in an hour, quickly just replenish that 25 miles. But most people think that it's required to get Level 2 charging to have an EV, and it really isn't. It just depends on how much you drive. What should I say else? Oh, about Level 2. The other thing is many EVs now, the charging cable that you get when you purchase your EV may have an adapter on it so that you can just plug it right into a 240 volt outlet. So for 2 of my EVs, that was the case. I have a Tesla Model Y and my Polestar came with adapters. So I can I've never had to buy a charging station. What I've done is I have wired a 240-volt outlet to my driveway where I park my cars. So that's really the biggest expense is wiring, getting an electrician to do the wiring and to set up an outlet close to where you charge, whether it's level 1 or level 2. And then, you can just buy a charging station at a big box store or online even, and you just plug that into the 240-volt outlet. So, yeah, just a little bit on that. Let's see what else. Yes. The first step really with level 1 or level 2, I would maybe check in with an electrician. You don't want to plug in to an outlet that's connected to a circuit that is used by many other appliances because you don't want to short the system. But, I think in my case, we just took a picture of our electric panel and texted it to my electrician. He took a look and he was like, oh, you're good. Fine. Okay. Charging away from home is easy too. There are many level 2 public chargers available, so you can charge when you're around town, running errands. But when you're on a road trip, you will want to fast charge with level 3 charging, which is the fastest charging around. There are currently 3 standards available. And on this image, you'll see the one on the left is the CHAdeMO system, which is currently only used for Nissan Leafs and a few older models, a few older Japanese models. The one in the middle is the CCS standard. That's the one that most non-Teslas have currently, especially if you're getting a used EV. All non-Teslas will have this, or the Nissan Leaf. The one on the right is the Tesla port, or now we're calling it the NACS port, the North American Charging Standard. So as we mentioned before, the NACS port is becoming this standard. So that's the direction we're moving in, which is great. So most people will be able to benefit from the Tesla supercharging stations. Let's see. Okay. There are adapters available also that can, so for I'm actually charging on my level 2 charger came from Polestar. So I have a little adapter if I want to charge my Tesla. There are adapters that go both ways as well. Sorry, before I move on, I just want to see if I have a couple of questions, just want to make sure. Okay, so once you start driving electric, it's ideal to charge your EV from rooftop solar, if that's available. There's a federal tax credit available this year, through the end of this year, to install solar and a battery. But that install needs to be complete by the end of this year. That was also just cut. It was supposed to be available for 10 more years. So if you're considering solar, that's something to really think about sooner than later, because it takes longer to kind of get solar, than getting a car. It is a great feeling to charge your car from the electricity that you generate from your own roof. For more resilience, you may want to consider a battery for storage. If you're not ready for solar, City of Palo Alto Utilities electricity is already carbon neutral, and CPAU has some of the most affordable electricity around. To make the most of renewables, they recommend that you charge your EV during peak solar hours. And if that's not available after midnight, is great too. The City of Palo Alto will be moving to a time of use rate plan. Other utilities and CCAs have clean options as well, and some offer a special reduced EV time of use rate plan. So you pay less for electricity during certain times of the day. Typically, that's between midnight and 3 p.m. And really, every utility is recommending that you charge during the day when the sun is shining, between 8 a.m. and 3 p.m. That's really affordable electricity, like half the price if you're charging at home, to charge between midnight and 3 p.m. versus 4 to 9 p.m. So significant savings. And you can set the computer on your EV to charge only at those times and just always stop charging at 3 p.m. so you don't get charged those higher rates. Okay. I want to address EV charging for people who live in apartments and condos. There are several charging solutions available and more are coming. We're also here in the Bay Area, I'm seeing lots of companies putting in EV charging in apartments and condos. So this is really great news. Um, people who don't have charging stations where they live charge on just 120 volt. If you have a plug to plug into and it's allowed, you can just plug in there. There are these new smart outlets that you can have installed with your property manager, and basically you use the app to, you plug in your car there, you use the app to start your session, end your session, and pay for the electricity that you use. People charge at work when that's available, and people sign up, people use public chargers. I mean, if you really want to get an EV and you have no reliable way to charge other than public charging, people just time it with their lives. Like, oh, when I go grocery shopping, I'm going to this particular store because there's EV charging there. Some people I've heard, they bring a book with them and they just use this as their little retreat to read their book and enjoy. There are many things that one can do while they're waiting. If you don't have EV charging at your apartment or condo, advocate. Okay, taking a road trip is getting simpler all the time. There are thousands of public charging sites that provide fast charging, and using apps like PlugShare and a better route planner, you can map out your trip before you leave from your computer, even if you want, or from your phone, and then use the app when you're on the road to find charging stations. Also, all of these new EVs have navigation systems to help you find charging when you're on the road. I will say Tesla has a very seamless product. I could put in Fifth Avenue, New York, New York. It will tell me exactly where I should stop along the way to charge my car. So that's easy, but more sophisticated navigation systems are getting into these newer EVs. So that's great. Electrify America, EVgo, Tesla, and ChargePoint are some of the more popular fast charge point operators in California. I suggest that you download all of those apps to your phone so that you can easily charge if you need to. The NACS supercharging stations are gradually becoming available to all EV models and can be accessed with an adapter or directly with a native port. Opening up this NACS supercharging network to all EVs is game-changing because it gives all EV drivers access to Tesla's vast, fast, and reliable supercharger network, eliminating one of the biggest barriers to EV adoption, public charging. All right, what's up next? First of all, I highly recommend that if you are ready to go and try to take advantage of this federal tax credit that's going away on September 30th, this is a great time. Weekends coming up, go test drive some EVs. At least go and sit in them. Adjust the seats. Look at the trunk space. See if this is the right car for you. Find the right car that works for you. We have Ride and Drive Clean, as I mentioned earlier. We offer EV discount campaigns where you'll save money and get expert guidance. We're going to be offering these in August and September. So they will be two different discount campaigns in August. Yeah, the cars may vary a bit as well. I cannot guarantee which cars will be there, or which cars will be included, but I have heard rumblings of, like, there are great deals on the Volkswagen ID4, the Chevy Blazer, the Volkswagen ID4. Sorry, I already said that, the Hyundai Ioniq 5. So if just as a starting point, I mean, I can't guarantee that there will be exclusive discounts on these. And so with our discount campaigns, the difference between going through us, our website, and working with Cartelligent is that Cartelligent will negotiate exclusive discounts that you will not be able to get if you go directly to the dealership. So you'll get extra savings on your EV, especially great lease deals through Cartelligent, but they can also process purchases as well. The other thing you're getting is guidance. We found, unfortunately, that oftentimes when you go to a dealer, they don't know much about EVs. So that's why we do these webinars, so that we can help people, navigate the landscape of EVs. It's different with Cartelligent. They know a lot about EVs. They also handle all that negotiating for you. So it's a great purchasing process. You basically tell them what you want. They can help guide you along. You tell them what you want, what color, what features, what trim levels. Then they'll go out to a variety of dealerships and find that car that you want and come back with pricing. If you want the cars that they're getting you, that pricing, which is 98% of the time better than any dealer can get you, even when we don't have our discount campaigns, then you move forward. They have 3 different offices where you would go pick up your car, one in Menlo Park, one in Walnut Creek, one in Sausalito. So very convenient. You show up once, you've agreed upon this, you show up, pick up your car, sign your paperwork, and they give you a tutorial of the car and off you go. It's a great buying experience. I can't tell you how many people come back to me and say, I will never buy a car any other way. The other thing is they typically have a service fee of $595, but during the campaigns, they waive the service fee on the featured EVs. So no cost to you. All right, we also do EV and e-bike expos. I know Palo Alto, we'll be planning to do one in Palo Alto in August. I believe there is one happening in Palo Alto also this weekend. I'm trying to see, I was asking for details. Gosh, I can get it to you. Yeah, so there is an event. Sorry, I'm on my phone because I can't go away from the screen. Saturday, the 26th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. It's an open house at the Municipal Service Center, which I believe is tied to the city of Palo Alto. It is 3201 East Bayshore Road. I can put this information later in the chat. Yes, we have ongoing webinars. We'll be doing another webinar next week. And then on August 6th, August 8th, we're going to do an EV discount campaign webinar where we will be able to we will be able to showcase which EVs we're offering and what the exclusive discount is. Cartelligent does do trade-ins, absolutely. It's interesting. What they've told me before is obvious. Okay, so you're going to get the most money if you sell your car on your own, but it's a pain to sell your car on your own. Cartelligent is somewhere in the middle, and then if you go with dealerships, you will get a little less typically. So Cartelligent is typically able to give you a better trade-in deal. Insurance rates are a little bit higher on EVs. It's really because these EVs are really high-tech cars, and if there is a crash, replacing the sensors and these high-end cars just because they're not mass market cars yet can be a little more expensive. So that's why insurance rates are a little higher. I've definitely talked to people who have insurance rates that are not higher with their EVs. Oh, yes, we will have a recording, Paul, and we'll have a recording, and we will also be sending out the slides to anybody who came to this webinar. And okay, so my last official slide. We are here. I'd like to thank you all for attending this program today, wherever you are in your journey to an EV. I hope it was helpful. I would also like to thank City of Palo Alto Utilities for sponsoring this event so that it was free for everybody who came here today. If you can make the switch to driving electric now, we are here to help you. The sooner, the better. If you're not ready now, can we have your support by pledging to make your next car electric? Our biggest ask really is please don't buy a new gas car. It will be on this earth emitting pollution for 12 to 15 years, and we need to stop doing that as quickly as possible.